What's up, guys? How are you? It's your boy Hebot here. Happy Halloween to everyone, and I hope you guys are safe, you guys are blessed, and I hope you had a very good time with your kids and your family, because Halloween is a fun time, or supposed to be a fun time, especially that we've been going through some rough patches this year, and a lot of places really didn't allow it to be happen to be in succession. So either way, it's getting really spooky out here in the streets, which is fitting. I'm having a hot coffee late night, putting air in my tires on Halloween. So cheers to all of yous. But it's getting spooky out here in these YouTube gaming streets. And this video is basically going to talk about the arrogance in the YouTube Xbox community. It's comical. I'm seeing a lot of things that I've been trying to say and point out in many different ways, directly and indirectly, because again, when I say what I say, I don't hold my tongue, and I don't say it to try to talk behind people's back, but I say it so that people get the message and don't really offend anyone. But sometimes being blunt and being direct is more effective, because some people think that they're beyond and above others, and that is a really bad way to be. And actually it shows and proves that a lot of you are not worthy of what you have and how you commend and how you are perceived in the community, because of the fact that you really think you deserve more because of your situation, your stature, whatever the case may be. Maybe economically you're better off, or because you're able to present yourself better and better quality because of your equipment, or how you've been able to build up your channel to get equipment through the years, and through help for others and in the community itself. But I'm going to give you guys a big example, and I'll mention names, and you take it how you want to take it. It really don't matter to me, because you guys don't care about me or anybody else other than yourself. So NWO Prime did a video. NWO Prime is a good friend of mine. Somebody I don't really speak to all the time, but I consider him a good friend of mine, because he's a good guy. He's an honest guy. He's straight to the point, and he don't bother anyone. Yet I see him do this comment on YouTube talking about directing himself to Phil Spencer and Microsoft. That, it would be nice to see Microsoft sometimes give an opportunity to people that are in a smaller space or not as well known to shine or to get exposure with their help. Obviously, with what's going on with the release of the Xbox Series X and S, somebody like NWO Prime or myself, right? If we got something like the Xbox Series X, or the Xbox Series S to unbox or to present, it would be an impactful thing, because it would show that the little guys also count, and it also show that you guys at Microsoft, for example, see that other people deserve and are deserving of the same special treatments. And NWO Prime don't ask for anybody for anything. Neither do I. Okay? Neither do a lot of people, like Mr. 100, like E-Rock, like Microbox of X, like Jamie Moran, like Sega Forever, like Sega Man, like Unlimited Productions, like Starboy. People like Ghost Rider. Okay? Guys that been here before many people, like a Randall Thor, for example, or like a Colt Eastwood, or even a dealer. A lot of these guys got on the scene because they had exposure and help with other people, like Next Gen on BGST, or like Crap with his Xbox Nation podcast, or even Mooch with his Crossfire, podcast. And yet, somebody like Colt Eastwood, right, that already hit 100,000 subscribers, that is certified, that has enough subscribers to sustain his own channel and not have to get anything free, that you never really see giving anything away to anyone in the community, right? Even though he has a sustainable channel that can provide him the means to do this, has the nerve to go to NWO Prime. You have the nerve to go to NWO Prime and tell him that people like Randall Thor deserve it because he have millions. Saying things that he deserves an Xbox Series X because he has millions of people watching him, when the reality is he doesn't even have 100,000 subscribers, and none of his videos nowhere near have ever reached 1 million views. And it's not about the views or subs, it's basically more about the representation of how you represent the Xbox brand and speak on it and represent it, which is really what should matter and what is the real thing that should be accounted for, right? Obviously, these are things that people seem to misconstrue. People like you, Cole. People like Dealer, right? People like Randall Thor. Maybe even somebody like, let's say, a Jez Gordon, right? For example, right? Because since when did that mean that you were more valuable? Yeah, I understand why Microsoft does it, because you guys have more viewership and views. Got it, I get it. But it's the people that are behind and under you that haven't been up in that kind of viewership count, sub count, that have the most impact in the streets. Because we talk to people on a daily, we go to GameStop, we socialize, we represent the true culture of social media and how it started in the arcades and playgrounds, after school and recess. The same way NWO Prime won't do a video talking about that he deserves more than you in any way, shape, or form, or neither have somebody like me, someone like Mr. 100. Guys that have been here before you, before Dealer, before Randall. And these are all facts, right? Guys that were here even before, let's say, a Mooch, even Mooch. That had connections as far back, like with, Microbox of X. Where do you get off thinking that you got more importance based on your sub and viewership? Where do you get off thinking? Where do you get off thinking that when that has nothing to do with representation? The fact of the matter is, people like you, people like Dealer, and people like Randall Thor, even Jez Gordon, you guys are neutrals. Because you guys are just worrying about becoming famous on YouTube. You want to make you want to make yourself somebody to Microsoft by ass kissing in many ways, right? By, oh yeah, Microsoft this, Microsoft that, even asking, oh, can we do this? You got your viewers saying, oh, they should give you this, they should give Randall Thor this, they should give people like Dealer this, they should give people like Randall Thor that, or Colt. Of course your family is going to say that, because that's all they see is you guys. They're blinded by you guys, so blinded that they don't go and pay attention to anybody else because they don't know any better, or because they think other people don't have real gaming insight to offer. People that actually show themselves playing video games, people that are actually showing themselves in the stores, talking to people about gaming, going to conventions, going to championships like New Legal did with the Gears Championship, which you guys have never done. In fact, you guys have sit there and put videos on your content, your channel, saying things like Microsoft needs to be better, their games are not good enough. When the reality is Microsoft's games were more diverse, had more fun factor, more gameplay than any game that Sony and Nintendo has offered. Because all of Nintendo's games are basically the same thing, rinse, wash, and repeat. Meanwhile, Microsoft has taken risks and chances and done different things. Not taken into consideration in any of your videos when you say those type of dumb, ignoramus type of things, that Microsoft didn't have the privilege to sit back and enjoy their success and laurels of Xbox One and their launch and their games. Because all they got was scrutinized for little stupid things, like the power brick being too big, like the games being 900p, even though they looked amazing. And the console had an amazing upscale that didn't need to be native 1080p if it was going to sacrifice, let's say something like frame rate or something like NPCs or better graphical detail. Little details that are further and beyond and more technical than any video you guys can do, rebuttaling what everybody else sees on a daily on social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, about the specs of a console, what it has, things that everybody can read and see. And you guys take these articles and then you make your own version of it, in your own interpretation, in your own words, talk about it like you're doing something special that no one else is doing. Or like you're the one that knew about it and that designed it and know how it worked, and that's why you got to get praised for it. To be honest, that's what makes your content stale. Because your content never changes. It's always the same style. No matter how much you present it in a good quality or in good presentation. It's boring sometimes because you're saying the same thing that almost 100,000 other people on YouTube are saying about consoles. Things that people can see if all they do is Google it and look at articles from The Verge, from IGN, from GameSpot, etc., etc. I mean, I would love to know what makes you think, because you could sit there and edit a video for 8 hours, makes your video any more important than somebody's video that they do for an hour or 5 hours of their time, when a lot of these guys are actual family men with actual kids, with real life responsibilities and ailments, actual real sicknesses. Like myself. I have 8 kids myself. Very, very serious disease myself, which nobody needs to know. It's none of your business. That's the whole point. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to get sympathy. I'm here to get respected for what I am and who I am. Just like NWO Prime and his wife. They have a lot of serious things going on. But you don't know that because you don't know him. You never took the time out to talk to him when he talks positive and good things about Xbox, or when he supported you guys when you guys were actually acting like you were real Xbox. But when you needed to sway away and say negative things like, oh, Xbox needs to do better, like y'all work at Microsoft, like you know how it works, like you know the difficulties of building up from the bottom up when you have so much negativity behind you, which is unwarranted, which was unnecessary to begin with, like a Phil Spencer, that he has to build up the company, and yet you think you know what it takes when you don't work in the industry because you hang out with somebody like Tim Dog. To be honest, Tim Dog deserves an Xbox before any of you guys, because he's been doing the work by himself and been representing Xbox and never swayed away and always called out Sony on their bullcrap. Because the problem with you guys that are neutral, you think that there's console warring is bad when it's not. Because there's a difference between console warring and calling out bullcrap. And the bullcrap is that's neither Sony or Nintendo is nowhere near on the level of Microsoft as far as consumer friendly and what they're doing for gaming and evolving gaming and both moving it forward than any other company. But you're more worried about making sure that you have people from Sony's camp come to see you, Nintendo's camp come and see you, or the media look at you. Oh, yeah, those guys always talk about consoles and gaming and that's it. Console warring existed. If it didn't exist, then you wouldn't have people like Jim Ryan saying something ignorant like, oh, Microsoft, how foolish of them to spend money on studios. When Microsoft needed studios because they didn't have no studios in the abundance the way that Sony has for so many years from buying through the years. Because they bought 90% of their studios. They didn't build them. They bought them. It's not like Microsoft that they built 343s, that they built the initiative like they're doing now, like they built the Turn 10 company, like they built Coalition. They didn't do that. They just bought. They built Sony Japan, which was a small thing they did, and I think Santa Monica. That's about it. Everything else they bought. I might have missed one or two, but that's to give you an example. But they've been in the industry a lot longer. That's how they've done what they've done. And a lot of the things they've done is just make the industry worse. Because they mudsling and they don't care about their customers. They don't care about nobody. They care about their pockets, and that's it. Meanwhile, Microsoft is showing differently and otherwise, and you guys are trying to say that they don't do enough. Like entitled little kids. Yeah, constructive criticism is good, but none of you have done constructive criticism. What you've done is basically say Microsoft needs to do better. When we had the drought of 2017 to 19, you guys, all you did was slander the games, even though they had good games. And then if you talk good about a game, it was very little. You talk more about games like God of War, Spider-Man, Death Stranding, or whatever the case may be, right? Ghost of Tsushima. Than you did anything Microsoft did because it was small. Something like Cuphead or Ori, or even something like Super Lucky Sales before it got on all the other platforms. You didn't talk about it because you felt it wasn't worthy because it wasn't AAA. When gaming is not about being AAA, gaming is about great games, no matter the budget, no matter if it's a single A, double A, or AAA. And most of the reason why Microsoft had a lot of single A games instead of AAA was because they were rebuilding the brand, putting the money and efforts into the more important things, which was making a better console to stop the stupidity and ignorance of the media and haters of saying that their console was anemic, or the brick being obtrusive when that was created for the power surge to prevent the console from getting burnt out because they had a lot of money that they invested in fixing the problems of the 360 with the red rings of death. There was reasons why they did what they did. The same way people were like, we couldn't find settings, when all you had to do was say, hey, Connect, or hey, Xbox, go to settings, or Cortana, when they did the update with the Cortana. Stupid, dumb things like that. You didn't ever praise or enjoy the games for what they were and what they delivered, like Sea of Thieves. When it was a free-to-play, building up, and now look what it is. It's got amazing content, it's an amazing game, it's a fun game to play with friends, whether you like the game or not, or the genre. Or something like Gears Tactics, Halo Wars 2. There's still genres that people love, whether they may not have a big following like a Call of Duty or like a Forza or like a Halo or a Gears or God of War for that matter. You guys don't know the culture the way people like me, NWO Prime, E-Rock 100, the way we know the culture. Okay? You just played games because that's what everybody did from the 80s or the 90s. Oh, you got a Super Nintendo? Oh, you got a Genesis? Or you got an NES? Or you got a Sega Master System? That's it. Because everybody else had it. But you didn't live and know the culture. Probably never really spent a lot of time in the arcades. And if you did, you never talked about it. So I really doubt that you guys did. And if you did, you've never shown it. So you don't give me reason to believe to think otherwise. So for you guys to have the nerve and the audacity to say something to Prime, right? Just like you wanted to say something to me when I was telling something to one of your fans and they took it out of context because they wanted to stir up the pot. Then you had the nerve to say something to me when you never said anything else before that. This goes to you, dealer. This goes to Colt. This goes to everybody. Mooch, everybody. Even Randall Thor. He never said a word to me, right? But yet you made sure you said something because you were trying to make an example of me, like, oh, you little boy or little guy on YouTube, you have no right to come to me. I work hard for what I do. So do I. I have to make room in what I do, which I do a hell of a lot of things. I'm not a YouTube creator. I don't make videos for YouTube. I am a content creator. I create content. There's a difference. So that I don't have to feel and look like everyone else. I can make videos of anything related to culture and video games or movie that are related to video games and correlate all of it because of my knowledge, my wealth of knowledge, my history, me living in the gaming scene in the culture for so long. I never went to nobody like a Next Gen or Crap or Mooch or Boom or any of you guys for that matter to say, hey, can I be in your show? Can you help me out? Somebody like K Mega, he's done everything on his own as well. Okay? So before you guys go around and saying things like that, you guys should really step back and look at how that makes you guys look. Because you just ultimately proved exactly what I said months back in my video about the fact that you guys think you're the representative of all the Xbox community, that you're the end all be all, and that you're the circle that matters, and that no one else matters. Because you guys put in all the work, you're the only one that deserves it, you guys are the only ones that put high quality stuff, and because that's what you do, you're more worthy than the next person next to you that maybe doesn't have the means, because they don't have the following, they don't have the capital, because of the substantial means that they're, substantial earnings of their channels, the way that you guys have. You should be more humble, graceful, and very thankful that you've gotten there. And I don't see you guys doing too much for the community anyway. I don't see you guys giving giveaways all the time. I've never seen it. And I follow you guys. I was subscribed to all of you. So you can't sit there and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, and if you have, I guess it wasn't a big deal because no people really haven't talked about it. Nobody really said, oh, I got a giveaway for console. Let's say like you gave away an Xbox One X. Or a year gold or an elite controller. Guess what? The guys I mentioned, they've done things like that. Matter of fact, I was trying to give an Xbox Series X now, but I can't get my hands on them. And I have money for 4 of them right now. 4. Because it's not a money issue either. Because a lot of you people like to misconstrue stuff and be like, oh, stop begging. Because this isn't about hating. This isn't about begging. Okay? None of it. None of it is about, hating, or obviously definitely not about begging or things like that. But, it's funny. It's funny because, to a lot of extent, I think you guys really, in your mind, think that we're hating instead of listening to what he's saying. NWL Prime was very clear and said, I was out there for 3 hours or 2 hours since 6 or 5 in the morning just to get my Series X. It would be nice to see Phil and company, do something like that and give away consoles to people like us that we don't have the subs, we don't have the following that gives us the subs, the money or the capital to sustain the channel from time to time. He didn't even ask for himself, he says for other people. You see what I'm saying? And again, we understand you guys got more views. It's understandable, it's part of marketing. But it doesn't mean that the small guys can't have impact. I have a small channel. I have only 750 subscribers. And I got videos that have 12,000 views. Which is way more above what I have as far as subs. Which means people watch because they like what I do. Not because of how valuable I look on the YouTube scene. And for all you that come to my comment that are the worshipers of them or other people or just plain stupidity, before you say anything, and I don't like doing things like this, but before you say anything about, oh, you just ate, you can't afford something, let me tell you something. Money's not the issue, okay? There's money here. There's all hundreds, okay? It's not that's not the issue. And that's none of your business to begin with. I'm just letting you know money's not the issue, okay? That's not the problem, okay? Because whether I'm in debt or not, or at least, or what I'm doing, at least I know I'm paying out of my pocket. And at least I know I'm not asking for nobody for anything. But I do know one thing. Somebody like NWL Prime, myself, E-Rock, New Legal, right? Randall Tour, not Randall Tour, rather, but Sega Man, Sega Forever, Unlimited, Starboy, Jamie Moran, for Christ's sakes, even Tim Dog. I know, and he's your guy, he's your friend, so he's not going to say anything. Well, I know these guys can do just a hell of a job, as good as any of you guys, doing any presentation or unboxing of anything that's given to them like a Series X. And you better get that through your heads. Because if you think otherwise, you guys are bugging. You got another thing coming. Because you guys don't hold a candle next to any of us. Okay? Especially me. And that's not to me to be bragging. I've already told you guys want to challenge me, you're more than welcome. We can have a debate anytime on my channel, live. And you tell me what makes you more worthy than me to be a representative of Xbox. Because I never talked negative about Xbox. And I've criticized them. I said certain things that they should do. But I've done it the right way. with class, understanding, and using my logic that is not as simple as black and white. Same way I've shown that I've supported and bought Sony products. I own all consoles and games, all their exclusives on Sony and Nintendo. But I know, no matter what, that Sony and Nintendo are nowhere near on the level of Xbox. And they don't care about their fan base like Xbox. That's a fact. No one can argue that. They were able to sit back, enjoy their success, the help and push that they got from everybody, the media, the haters, the trolls, the real fan base of Sony, right, and or Nintendo, and then guys like you guys that play the neutral card, that you'll throw more shade at Xbox for any little thing than you do Sony when they don't do nothing for you. Let me see how many PlayStations you guys are going to get. Probably none. And guess what? I guarantee you're going to go out and buy it with your money and then praise that console and Sony more than you would Xbox when you got it free from them. That's the worst part. That's what makes it even more insulting. And that's what NWO Prime was trying to point out. So, I think I said enough. And to be honest, like I said, if you want to consider this beef or an insult to you, listen, we're grown men. You take it how you want to take it. But if you actually sit down and listen to me, you'll understand what I'm saying. You'll be like, you know, damn, he has a fucking point. Who are we to do that and say that? And the worst part is your fan base comes and attacks people like Prime or myself when you guys haven't even had no back and forth with us. You can defend yourself. You can speak for yourself. Y'all all grown men. Right? And you are certainly not going to tell me, any of you, that you're more worthy than me as a representative of Xbox. Because I'm true Xbox fan. True and true. I'm a gaming fan. Period. In every step and sense of the way. And I never threw shade at Xbox, not once. I only throw shade where it's deserved. Where I don't have respect or get respect, even though I spend my hard-earned money to support that company. I'm not going to look like a sucker. If you guys don't care about looking like suckers, sucking on a company that don't care about y'all and don't do nothing for y'all, but yet you still keep supporting and buying their stuff, that's on y'all. That's not on me. Anybody ain't going to look like no sucker. And I don't care if people like me or not. That's the difference. I don't want to be a star. I want to be respected as a gaming historian and root gamer. Because I'm passing forward knowledge of the history of gaming. Not stupidity and thinking that I'm better than anyone else just because I have a bigger subscriber base. Somebody like Stallion. Stallion got 1 million. Never threw shade at Xbox. Always showed respect and loyalty and showed that he cares. And that's why Stallion deserved to get his Series X. I'm 100% for that. He deserves it. Absolutely. 100%. Randall Thor was on stage. He was celebrated. He was treated like a, like a gentleman by Microsoft. And then a year later, almost a year and a half, just because of somebody that wanted to push his channel to do Sony stuff, bought him a PlayStation. And then he said, oh, I've been blinded. I don't know how long I've been waiting. I should have never waited so long. I should have gotten PlayStation. They got amazing games and this and that. Praising them. Really? Sony didn't buy you that. It was a damn fan because he was wanting you to be a neutral and not represent what you wanted because he couldn't be strong enough to just represent what he believed in and just wanted to be part of what the narrative was so that he can get more followership and viewership. And that's what all of you have done. So you put your own self in that situation. Now, you can't just get out of it because people that follow Sony and Nintendo believe that you guys just care about them. So if you want to be Xbox now, you can't, because if you do it, you're going to look like hypocrites. And we all know this. Nobody can point a finger at NWO Prime or me saying we're hypocrites. And NWO Prime has bought all the PlayStations and all the Nintendo Switches and used. He's done video on his channel. If you go to his channel, which I know you're not going to do, you'll see it. He's bought all that stuff. Out of his own pocket, he paid. He didn't have nobody give him jack shit. So, That's what I have to say about that. If you guys want to keep stretching it, go right ahead. It's not going to be good for you guys, because believe me, we're not going to go down quietly. And that's not a threat. That's just letting you know, just because you're bigger in the community scene doesn't make you bigger or better or above us. So if we give you the respect and let you do what you do without bothering you, right? Just because we're calling out what's right and wrong and you happen not to like it, then we're going to call you right back out and we're going to bring you the heat and let you know that you don't cross the line on us. You don't intimidate us because you're in the circle of what's considered the Xbox representative. You represent your viewers and your clique, not the entire Xbox community, especially not the underground. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully I don't have to do another video saying anything. Like I said, I'm straightforward and to the point. Always have been with anyone and everybody, excuse me. Because that's how I am. I'm honest. And that's why people don't like me. And guess what? I really don't care. You don't have to like me. I'd rather have real people follow me than fakes just because I follow Nintendo, Sony, or because I'm a shill. I don't do that. I want real fans, or I want real friends. That's why I say I consider them part of my family. Guys, I'll see you in the next one. This is your boy Hebot, as you already know. Have a good night. Enjoy, and let's try to be humble and genuine and classy, for that matter. It's not hard to be classy, especially when you're in a better position than someone else. I should be thinking more about we should help these guys because they're good people, instead of saying we're worthy and you're not.